pound for pound, nettles have got a lot of protein in them. Yep, my friends, this video is about the humble nettle. Well, it's not that humble, it's pretty amazing. And I'm putting it up there with chestnuts, mainly because it's one of the few things that grows ubiquitously in the UK and has kept us alive for centuries. Our ancestors used to live off probably game, and when they farmed animals, so it was a lot of meat, dairy, but there wasn't an awful lot of plants around. There's not a lot of plants that actually naturally want to grow really well in the UK. We have to, I don't think you realise, or I didn't realise, that farmers have to do an awful lot to keep that thing going. A lot of pesticides, a lot of fertiliser. They don't naturally want to grow, whereas as you can see, nettles just want to grow like weeds. So, what's so amazing about them? Well, loads of stuff, you can look at it on the internet, but protein wise, about 25 to 40% protein by weight. That's when it's wet. But if you want to compare like for like, dried nettles, you'd have to dry them. You're looking at up to around 33 grams per 100 grams of material, dried material, protein. Chicken's 27, so it's got more protein than chicken, dried. I guess chicken would have more if it was dried. And tofu, which is the king, has got 36 grams. So it really is a good food source, and of course you know all about the stems. They were turned into fibre and things like that. It's got more iron than spinach. I could go on. The only problem with nettles is it takes an awful lot. Well, the only problem with making leaf curd out of this, which is what you want to turn it into to eat protein, is it is a major pain in the backside. 12 kilograms of leaves to make 1 kilogram of curd. It's not worth it. I'm going to put up a picture now of what this stuff looks like though. A few years ago I did make this stuff, and yeah, it was a lot of work. Tastes pretty good, tastes exactly like tofu, but yeah, not worth it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a nettle soup, and if there's anything else I can conjure up. So what do we do? I've got a few useful tools we can use to harvest this. And you want to harvest it between March and May. So the whole thing with plants is you harvest it at the time it's doing its thing. I don't know other ways to describe that, but at the moment it's growing leaves. When it gets to the seeds, dispersing seeds, you want to eat the seeds. When it's producing flowers, you want to eat the flowers. Wherever it's putting its energy. In the winter time, you probably want to eat the roots. Probably wouldn't be very tasty, but that's generally the idea. You go where the plant is putting its energy. So what we have is pruners, secateurs, definitely gloves, and Fiesta Resistance. I want to give this thing a try. It doesn't have a picture of nettle on there. I wonder if it'll work. Yeah, of course it will. Okay, no, we're not going to use pruners, don't be ridiculous. We're going to use the Strela. Why walk when you can drive? Pop that through the hole. Not that one. I did do some. Try that one. Nope. Probably that one. God, it's going to make the job so much easier. Yeah, it's about 24 grams, so I need about 16 times that amount. Could be a little while. I think I might come back to you. Okay, let's see what we got. I've been at this an hour, and quite frankly, I'm not doing any more. I'm making it as if I've got loads of time on my hands, and I don't. What are we at now? In the right unit, 155 grams. That might not be far off. 300 grams. I'm not doing any more than that. It'll have to be a 300 gram soup. I guess the problem with stinging nettles is that we haven't cultivated them. If this was spinach leaves, you know it'd be a lot easier. You just go and pick big old spinach leaves and you'd be done within probably 5 or 10 minutes, because we have grown them to grow big leaves. We've cultivated them to grow big leaves, whereas we haven't done that with stinging nettles. If we had done, the leaves would probably be like that. And that would make life a lot easier. So I wouldn't. So this is more of a foraging video, or you want to do something a bit interesting. It's not really sustainable in terms of time, but very good for you and certainly worth giving it a go every now and again. Okay, let's get cracking on the recipe. Right, we've moved to the kitchen now, and these are the remainder of our ingredients. So we've got, well, 1 carrot, 1 leek, 1 onion, 1 large potato, 1 floury large potato, that's what it says, 50 grams of butter, 1 litre of vegetable stock, and some double cream. But that's not double cream, that's creme fraiche. I don't really tend to follow recipes that well. I know it makes a difference with baking, but I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference with soup. So I want to use that for something else. Didn't want to waste some double cream. So I'm just going to chop this roughly out, make my life easy, stick it in a food processor. Chop finely. Maybe I shouldn't put the potato in there though, because it's very starchy. Might just turn into mush. Never blended a potato before. I have actually cooked potatoes, because when I was a student, being lazy, trying to figure out a quick way of making mashed potato, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just blend the boiled potatoes rather than mash it. Doesn't work, does it? So this is chop it very finely. So let's do that. Obviously we've got our 300 grams of stinging nettle leaves. Right, that's probably good enough. Okay, so this is 1 tablespoon of olive oil, but I do have some. It's just that this was getting thrown in the recycling bin, and it's a buttery spread, so I can't see how this won't do the same job. I'm not much of a food connoisseur to know, to be able to taste the difference, to be honest. Better for me, better for the recycling man. Waste not, want not. I wonder if kids even know that saying anymore these days. Do the kids parents teach it to them? Okay, so now we wait till that melts. Okay, we've got the old butter going. Let's chuck all the veg in. All the potatoes stick to it all. Cover this food processor, Braun, for, well, I know it's been in the family for 30 years and it's still going strong. Just really don't make things like they used to. What, you need, what, 2-3 years out of a food processor these days? I'd love to know what, presumably they just use like plastic bits in the motor or something. It's usually the motor that goes, isn't it? Maybe they used to use just only metal parts. I don't know. It is quite shocking, the difference. Right, now this has got to cook for 10 minutes. It does look a little bit dry. Maybe that's what the olive oil would help, but let's pour a little bit of the stock in early. And we're going to leave that to simmer for 10 minutes and then we will add the stock. Okay, we're just going to add the remainder of the stock now. There's a little bit of the stock not melted in there. Okay, and in 10 to 15 minutes we'll come back and add the actual nettle leaves. Okay, so we've got nettles now. They've all been washed. It's pretty important you wash them with all the insects and things. You're not going to get every little insect out, and by now most of the sting's gone. I mean, I can't feel it. Just wait till these wilt before we add any more. Yes. There you go. Okay, so we'll leave that to simmer for a couple more minutes and then we'll blend it. Okay, now we need to blitz it. We're going to do it with one of these stick blenders. It's a lot easier than food pressers, a lot less messy. Right, now we can stir in the butter. 50 grams, as I said before. Put that to the bottom where it can get the heat. Okay, and then we want a cream of some description, and we want 50 milliliters of this. So I'm not going to measure it out. It's 300 milliliters. This, you can't quite see that. 300 ml. So I just need a sixth of that. So there's going to be 1, 2. That's probably about right. So two tablespoons. I'm going to stir that in. Obviously leave that out, both of those out if you want to go for a vegan dish, it's absolutely fine. Now it doesn't mention anything in the recipe I've got about seasoning, but you always season stuff, don't you, if it needs it. I'll give it a little taste. And it's nice, very sort of earthy taste, but it's very, it just tastes very clean. Doesn't taste particularly buttery or creme fraiche. But I'm gonna stick some pepper in there anyway. Okay, and a little bit of salt. And that's it. I'll be tempted to put some chili in, but I'll usually go a bit mad and end up ruining it, so we'll serve it up like that. Delicioso, as the French say in the Algarve, Rodney. Yeah, this is a very tasty dish, very good for you, very earthy, sort of thing I like. But anyway, guys, give it a go, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.